just kept feeling this pressure to be in a box. I felt like I put myself in a box, and the more I put myself in the box, the more it felt like work. And I was like, the minute, like I people who do YouTube full time, I give you all the credit in the world because it's hard. Like, I don't think I could do it full time.
Welcome to today's video. This is your old pal CHH. You're watching Planet CHH, and today we're having a conversation with Big Money Jeff from Phil's at Home. I give everybody a nickname. I hope you don't mind. You look like, to me, you're Big Money Jeff.
Big Money?
I like it.
I like it. I don't mind. That's better than what other people might have called me, so that's cool.
Well, we'll get there. Jeff, you said are you on vacation, or are you just visiting? Like, you're in Seattle?
I wish it was vacation. It's a work trip. I'm lucky if I even sniff more than about 5 minutes of the outdoor air in Seattle. I'm in an office all day. So
yeah, I mean, is it raining over there? Because that's whenever I visit, it was always raining.
I think it's rained every day. Yeah, on and off. It's rained at least once every day.
Yeah.
So,
well, hopefully you get some fun out of the trip. Have you listened to any Nirvana while you're over there? Maybe that.
I have. Yeah, I brought flannels with me. I've been in my grunge era here while I'm in Seattle. So yeah. Trying to do the whole thing. Yeah, on the plane over, I was like, I gotta have a grunge mix. I gotta have Kurt Cobain going. Like, for my first time here, so I'm like, I gotta make this the Seattle experience.
Yeah, I think the first Starbucks is over there too. Have you gone to the first Starbucks?
I haven't gone to the first one, but they're on every corner, so I'm not even sure which one's first anymore. We got one in our office. Like,
Jesus.
It's
Are you a
it's
coffee
that
guy?
prevalent. No, to be honest, I really don't drink it at all.
What gets you going? Are you an energy drink guy?
No caffeine.
None?
No, not for the. I mean, this week I'm doing a little bit because with the East Coast to West Coast time change and like the jet lag is pretty real, but normally I wake up and like I'll have a smoothie or something, but no caffeine in it. No.
That makes sense because you're very like mid-tempo to me. Like I'm pretty like, I'll get real excited and other times I'll be chill, but you always seem very mid-tempo to me. That's got to be because you don't indulge in the caffeine.
I guess, yeah,
You know what I'm
maybe.
saying?
I don't know. I'm just, yeah, it's always been, even when I feel like I'm getting excited, I'm like, damn, my excitement level is, even when I'm excited, it's nowhere near like some
That's
other
like
people.
my wife. She's just like, she could win the lottery. She'd be like, hell yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
I'm the excited one. Jeff, listen, dude, thanks for giving me some of your time. I want to say congrats. Your channel is, I mean, I feel like you're one of like the bigger physical media channels out there. I
think so. I hate bragging or even talking about that because it feels so like self-promotional and like,
I understand.
I'm humble about it, but I mean, I think it's the biggest. I think. I don't know. There could be others, but it's up there.
Do you ever let's just get philosophical for a second, Jeff?
All right.
Do you ever stop and say to yourself, why me?
I do. Yeah, because I don't feel special. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not to the point. I've been recognized like once in public. It's not like I'm at a point where I'm like, wow, this is massive. So it still feels small and niche, even if it has gotten a little bit bigger. And yeah, I'm always kind of like, I think other people make better videos that I watch and they're better edited. And it's like, I mean, this is what I always tell people. It's like the algorithm just decided one day, it was like, this is cool. And right now, like the algorithm does not like my channel because of some changes I've made. It's like, it's up and down. You get a couple things and they blow up. And then all
you're
of a
out
sudden,
of the wave. Yeah.
Yeah. All of a sudden you're here and then it slows down. It's like, I don't know. I've been doing it for 7 years. There's been a lot of ups and downs. It's really weird to I don't even like telling people about it. To be honest, that like don't know. I keep it pretty private that like I even have that going on.
I'm the same way.
Yeah. I don't talk about it at all. No. I usually don't tell people I work with either. People at this job found out. And so now everyone's asking me about it. And the Instagram account got really big too. And they're like, what's going on over there? What are you doing? How much money do you make? And I'm like, I just don't want to talk about any of that stuff. Like, I don't know. I said I do. It's fine. It's cool. It's a nice side hustle. Like,
that's not me.
Yeah. I get like, I don't know. It's weird. I don't get like embarrassed, but I'm just like, I don't really want to talk about it because I feel like it's almost a different person or like it's a different, I'm at work. So like, this is not my job. I go to a day job and I'm like, that's that. And then I have this, and then I have like dad, family, and they're like three different, keep them in separate buckets.
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like you got to split that up pretty good. Jeff, let's kind of go back. I want to talk to you about YouTube, but I don't really, here's the thing, Jeff. I'm pretty good at acting like I know people pretty well because I'm a pretty personable guy, but I don't know a whole lot about you. I can't even remember. I feel like you just came onto my radar. Like you said, YouTube was just like, watch this guy.
Right.
And I remember seeing your channel and I was just like, wow, this guy's doing really good. And I'd keep up with you. I remember once I found you, I started following you and stuff like that. And it's funny, you actually did a video talking about the PS4 and the Xbox. Are they decent 4K players? And funnily enough, that video, me and my wife watched that together one night, and we were just like, yeah, like for what we do, this is the PS5. I don't know if I said 4 or not, but the PS5, this is perfectly suitable for what we need. And I remember that's when I really started checking your channel out more since then. But you in physical media, like, did you grow up a physical media kid? I think you're about the same age as me. So I'm 32.
Yeah, I'll be 32 in November.
Oh, so you grew up like me. Were you a VHS kid? Did your family have a big collection and stuff like that?
Yeah, we had a whole cabinet full of VHS, some legit, some ripped off of HBO. You know how that went. Yeah. But yeah, I was, the video store was a big part of growing up when I was younger. I remember like being 4 or 5 years old, like you'd go. It wasn't even Blockbuster at the time. It was some local store, and I'd get Batman, the animated series tapes, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle tapes, and all the stuff I was into. And yeah, I mean, we had VHS. My dad got into DVD really early, like 1999. Like we had DVD. We were into DVD.
He got an expensive player.
Yeah, he was like, we need widescreen. Like that was big. Like I remember that being ingrained in me, like 8, 9 years old. Like if you go to buy one, make sure it's widescreen. Make sure you get the best edition. Like so, it's always kind of been that way. And my dad's a book collector, so like he has more books than I have movies. Believe it, like it's thousands and thousands and thousands of books on these custom built bookshelves that he built. And so like I grew up with like that collector mentality too. Like there was always a collection of media. Yeah.
Jeff, what kind of movies were you into as a kid? I mean, were you like me? Like for some reason there were certain movies I think everybody had in their collection. Did everybody have the Titanic 2-box VHS set as kids? Like I had that.
Yeah, I think everyone's still there. Every thrift store still has them, so they're everywhere.
Yeah,
but yeah, that was big. I mean, we definitely had it. My parents had it. I don't know how much I watched it when it came out. I was like 5 or 6, but I know we had it. I watched the shit out of Jurassic Park. Can I swear? Is that okay? I didn't even ask.
Brother, you say whatever you want.
Right. Some people don't like it.
People are going to be like, oh my God, Jeff curses? I'm subbing.
That'd be nice.
They haven't already.
I've started to in some of my videos. I'm like, I got to stop being so damn formal and like just talk.
I got to say damn and hell more.
Right? Damn it. But no, like Jurassic Park, huge. Jaws, huge for me. That's my favorite. But like we had all the Disney movies on VHS, so that stuff was big. But I mean, it was just like all the kids movies. There was so much in the 90s that was like just kids entertainment, like live action or animated. There was a lot more live action, like kids stuff than they have now. Oh, yeah, like Dunstan Checks In was one that we always watched. That was an HBO rip. Yep. So many movies like that. Like The Sandlot was huge. I was a baseball kid, so The Sandlot was huge. The Mighty Ducks was huge. Anything with the sports. Like there was so much good live action stuff for kids that I feel like there isn't now. I feel like it's either animated or like that's it. Like they don't make like live action family movies.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it is a dead art. Were you ever into like, for some reason, like I had this bizarre obsession with Street Fighter, the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie as a kid. I probably put thousands of miles on that VHS tape I had as a kid. Were you ever into stuff like that?
I didn't do Street Fighter, but I did Three Ninjas for sure. That was one like that I played the hell out of. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
there is always that weird, like for me, honestly, I think the take
That's a dead art form, those kinds of movies.
exactly, yeah, like they just don't that just doesn't exist anymore. Indian in the Cupboard and all those, like they were great live action family movies.
Sure.
And that's what I played the hell out of those. But Jurassic Park's probably the one that got the most mileage for me. I was
Oh,
big into
sure.
dinosaurs, and I watched that and watched that and watched that over and over and over again.
Did your parents, were they pretty lenient on letting you watch horror stuff? Like, I didn't grow up a huge horror fan, Jeff. It wasn't until like I got to be 18 that I got addicted to horror.
My mom was into the older horror. She grew up on it. Like she loved Halloween, like the original Halloween and like a Friday the 13th, like some of that 70s, early 80s horror. And so I watched those pretty young, but like on AMC, like on TV, like TV cuts during Fear Fest or whatever. Like I would catch those after school for sure. And I watched those pretty young. And I did Jurassic Park pretty young. I did Jaws really young. King Kong, like the original King Kong, I watched pretty young. Which is not horror, but like definitely more intense than like a kid's movie.
Sure.
So they were pretty lenient with that stuff. They were more hardcore on like the, you know, you're not watching anything like nudity or like anything that's super hardcore violent, like the rated R stuff. They're like, you gotta stay away. But PG-13 was pretty cool even at like 4 or 5 years old.
Sure.
So
yeah.
they were pretty, honestly, they're probably more lenient than I'd be with my own son now, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you, especially nowadays, because I think even PG-13 stuff now, I hear people say like there's fuck words and stuff like that in PG-13 movies nowadays.
Yeah.
Like the bar just keeps getting pushed farther and farther away. It's funny because all the stuff we watch from the 70s and 80s now, it's like, oh, they had to trim and trim and trim to get an R. And I feel like nowadays it's like, we can't get an R. It's PG-13. Like we're gonna have to do some really messed up shit just to get an R in it. It's just it's crazy.
Yeah.
So your family got into DVDs pretty early. Do you remember what the first DVD was your family got? Because I can tell you mine was, your favorite movie was actually Jaws, and that was, it's a full screen DVD. I do remember because it was the red. It was the red banner, which I have it now, so I know it was full screen. But the picture just blew us away when I was a kid.
Yeah. Oh, DVD was like incredible when we first got them. My dad he had the surround sound system too, like nothing crazy. We had the 5 speakers, we had full surround with the subwoofer, and he wired it all through the house. So I want to say our first one, he used to buy them at Costco. That used to be the go-to spot for DVDs. Every time we went to Costco, and they always had the snap cases. So we had a ton of those like snap case DVDs.
Oh, the old snappers.
That's what they sold. So we had a bunch of those. I mean, I want to say first one he got, I'm thinking back to what we had. We had like a sweet Terminator 2 one. I know we had Indiana Jones. We had Star Wars. He got Jurassic Park. He got The Matrix like everybody else did on DVD when that came out. I think that was like the best-selling DVD. So he bought a bunch all at once. Like I don't remember which one was first, but I know that we got like a core group of like Back to the Future, like those 10 like core movies for him and me at that point, to be honest, because I started watching them all. So it was the popular. It was the basics, but it might have been something like Terminator 2. I mean, he was big into that. He had this cool like metal case that was like embossed with the T1000 on it, like the face of the Terminator, and it was all red and glow up. It was like a metal slip cover, which was really cool. So that might have been it, because that was a sweet release. I know we had that one forever.
Were you into, I think for a lot of people, Jeff, and I think you've done videos about this too, were you a video game kid? Because I feel like a lot of people too, like they got like DVDs when they got a PS2, right? Were you like, were you a Sega kid, or were you like what were you as a kid?
I was a Nintendo kid. I distinctly remember grabbing a Super Nintendo at like a community yard sale for $2 when I was probably like 4, 5-ish, which is unbelievable now. I'd love to get one for $2, but $2, we got all the old school games. I had the Mario and everything, and then I got Nintendo 64. Whatever year that came out, I got it for my birthday that year, and so then it was Mario 64 and Donkey Kong Country and all the, you know, Pokemon Snap. I was big into that. We had Game Boys. I was heavy into Nintendo and like that world. So that was huge. Yeah. I've always been, I have PS5. Like I still play games.
Did you play Pokemon Stadium with your friends and have your Game Boy pack that you put in the back of the controller?
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, and the cord that connected Game Boy to Game Boy so you could make a trade and battle against them. Yeah, absolutely.
I held on to all that stuff. Some of the stuff I was able to save. You can't see it because the camera's only showing so much, but I got shelves right here full of let me just show you boxes of this stuff. I got like Super Game Boys in the box.
Oh, I love it.
I'm obsessed, dude. I was a Sega kid, Jeff. My dad had this weird thing about Sega. He didn't game, but he just bought me Genesis Saturns, which I was the only jackass in my neighborhood that had a Saturn. Nobody had a Saturn because they all were smart. They got a PlayStation. But yeah, I was a Sega kid, man. And I remember when we got the PS2, that's when I started getting, once I was able to get the PS2, that's when I had a DVD player in my room because, you know, for us back in the day to have more than one DVD player, you had to be rich.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
so having that PS2 was where I really started buying my own movies and things like that. Let me kind of fast forward a little bit and get into YouTube with you because our time's fairly limited, people. We can't go too long with Jeff tonight. But Jeff, you said you started YouTube 7 years ago. So what is that? Because to me, 7 years ago was 2005 in my mind.
Right. It was it's the fall. It was the fall of 2017. So I'm coming up on 7 years in a couple months.
Okay. Incredible. Take me 3 or 4 months before you made your channel. I mean, obviously YouTube by 2017, YouTube is a part of everybody's daily life, I feel, right?
Yeah.
Who are you watching? Like, what kind of channels are you watching with this sort of thing that were like, I think I can do this?
Yeah. So going way back. So the reason I didn't start YouTube earlier is because I was still living at my parents' house. And I honestly was just like, I wasn't like embarrassed to be living at my parents' house because everyone did until you could figure, I mean, good Lord, with what housing costs now. I get it. I mean, I did the same thing. I was in the basement, but I was just like, everybody lived in the house. I was the oldest brother. So everybody was there. There were 6 people in the house. My wife was living with me at that point too, in the basement. Like it was just chaos. And so I couldn't get a quiet spot to record a video if I wanted to. And I also was like embarrassed about it. I was like, I don't want people walking in while I'm recording or like I was weird about it. So I wrote for a long time.
Totally understand. I'd lock the door at my parents' house when I would do videos.
Yeah. Like I was weird about it. I still am. I'm still like, tell my wife like I gotta record some stuff, like go upstairs and hang out.
Don't come down here.
Yeah, it's weird for me. I don't know why. I don't want to hear. She watches them all, but like I don't want to hear you like watch you recording. Like I don't know. But anyway, so when I finally moved out, I had been watching like the kind of classic Blu-ray like physical media channels, which some of them are still going. Like Sean C. Phillips had his channel, The Cool Duder.
Hey guys, Sean Phillips here. Another brand new, please.
Exactly. So like,
all love. I like Cool Duder.
Yeah, and this is back when like stuff was actually in stores. So like, it was cool. Like you'd see a bunch of new movies, you get recommendations. Like now it's so hard to make those because there's nothing in the stores anymore. Sure. I watched him. I watched Cinema Sickness was one I watched a lot of because he'd go into the thrift stores and he would find stuff, and that got me excited to like go on the hunt and try to find some stuff myself in thrift stores. And I got into like buying stuff used and finding cool deals. There was another guy Wasting Money 1, I think was his channel name. This goes way back. This is like OG like Blu-ray YouTubers, like 2008, 2009. I think he was making stuff. I don't think he has in a lot of years now, but he had a group of friends who like, they'd go into Best Buy, they'd find movies, they talked about Blu-ray, they had a collection. Like, so I was into all that, but it was mostly people. It was like shopping videos. It was all like going to the store, shopping, finding something, like shooting from behind the camera, shooting in the store. And there weren't a ton of people doing any like educational like stuff, like getting more people into collecting and like making it more accessible. And I don't know. I was just like, I feel like there's something there where I work in marketing as a day job. I was like, I can put together a script. I can do the research, write a good script, put together like it's essentially a blog post, which I had been doing for years that I then just record.
Is the blog post is like a personal thing? Is that physical media related too?
It was. It was for a bit, yeah. And then I mean I would do it in my day job too. I was writing stuff and running websites. And so like I got to know the world pretty well. And I was like, well shit, I can just take a blog post. And instead of writing about, hey, here's the benefit of Blu-ray, or like here's why you'd want to collect physical media, like I'll just put it on a video and put it on YouTube and see if it happens. And I had an Instagram account at that point that I'd grown like a little bit, just posting pictures of my collection, which was admittedly super small at the time. And so I kind of just like, I was like, I'm going to do YouTube, and just started it and posted a shitty video that I shot vertically, like an idiot. My first video, it's still on my channel. It's shot completely vertically with no microphone, with the front camera, like showing people my home theater space in the condo I just moved into.
But hold on, Jeff. Take me back to that moment, Jeff. When you first put that video up. Now I started, you know, I'm proud of what it's taken me a while to actually really start building and figuring it out. I'm doing okay now. I'm proud of what I've done, but admittedly I've started way before you. But this was the Wild West, Jeff. This is when people had the iPhone 3GS was the best phone you could get at the time when I started. So everybody's videos looked like shit, right? But when I first uploaded when I put my first video on the internet, Jeff, there was this feeling like, holy shit, I have a video on YouTube.
Yeah.
But for you, this was 2017. So I feel like the playing field or just the mentality might be a little bit different at that point. Can you tell me what was that feeling like for you putting that first video up? Were you scared? Like, is anybody going to see this? Or did you have the wherewithal to know, okay, I know this doesn't look anywhere as good as these other?
Yeah.
Take me to your mindset during that time.
Yeah, I would say I wasn't scared because I felt good about it. Like I was comfortable. I was a little scared to just like put my face out there, because to that point, everything I had done had been faceless. Like I had never posted a picture on my Instagram. It was pictures of the collection. I'm behind the camera. Nobody had ever actually seen me. So I was a little scared there. Just like I'm putting my name and my face out there. But I wasn't scared of uploading to YouTube. And it wasn't like a massive like aha moment, because I had been uploading to YouTube since like 2006, like when I was going through middle school and high school, shooting shitty videos on like flip phones, and then we put them on YouTube and people would think they were funny, and like they'd go like viral in the school with like a little clip I shot of like a student teacher basketball game where one of the teachers made a nice play, and it's the worst. Look, I don't even know if it's still on YouTube, but like I was using the platform early, and we actually had some like stuff go weirdly viral when I was in high school. We made like a fake Call of Duty video game like announcement trailer, like back when fake trailers were like you would just name the YouTube video. Like this was when Call of Duty 4 came out, which was huge, probably like the biggest one ever. And so we were like Call of Duty 5 sneak peek trailer, blah blah blah, like keywords, smashed it, and then it was this shitty video of us just like playing around with toy guns and messing around. But we started the video with like a 20-second snippet of Call of Duty gameplay that looked legit, and it had like 250,000 views at the time, which was like insane.
I'd love to see the comments.
Yeah, so they were pissed. They were pissed, and I had uploaded like school projects. Like I was shooting video and doing school projects, and anytime there was a video project, I was like, I want it. I'm gonna put it on YouTube. We're gonna upload this. So like I knew the platform. That didn't scare me, but yeah, being a face and then opening yourself up to essentially the world, and then yeah, from the start I'm hearing it because I'm an idiot. I'm like, yeah, you just shoot it vertically because like that's how I use my phone camera, right? I take pictures like this and I uploaded it, and the first comment was like something like, hey dumbass, like we do videos horizontally on YouTube. And I was like, shit, you're right, right, that was me, that was my bad, like we definitely do them horizontally.
Jeff, let me ask you a question. Was it when you decided to do this channel, first of all, was the channel called Films at Home at that point?
It had been from the very beginning. Yeah.
I swear I'm not asking this satirically, because it's like it's a catchy name and it's also pretty literal. So when I ask you, where did the name come from? Like, Was it a thing that you said, because you said you're a marketer? It is catchy. I like it. Films at Home. You get what the channel's all about pretty much right from the get-go. Did that come to you pretty quick, or were you just like, what the fuck do I call? Like, what do I call this? Because, I mean, it's weird when you look at the physical media channels. Let's just go for an example. Wasting Money 37, whatever the channel is you were watching.
Yeah.
Cool Duder. Like, your channel name actually pretty much reverberates back off of what it's about. So tell me about that.
Yeah, so I had used the name. It had been on Instagram, and I had used it on a blog for a bit, and so I'd had it for a little bit before I put it on YouTube. But it really was just like, it was one of those things where I was like, okay, like, yeah, like it's very literal. Like, what can I call this? What am I going to talk about? I'm going to talk about movies at home. And I was like, that sucks. I don't like movies at home. And I think it was also Taken. So like, that was the other thing. As a marketing guy, I'm like checking every domain. I'm checking every Twitter account, like doing username searches to be like, what's actually available, so I'm not stealing or trying to like pile on top of somebody else. So a bunch of stuff was Taken, and then films worked. And at the time I was still living at my parents' house, so it was very literal, like films at home, not even my home. Like I'm at home just hanging out. And that's it. And I mean, and recently I changed it.
We're gonna get there.
Yeah, so I liked it for a very long time, and then it kind of it got to me a little bit. I got a little sick of it, honestly. After a while, I was just like, I'm sick of just using that, and I thought I could do a little bit more. But yeah, that's where it came from. It's very literal, just like, I need a name, I need something, and I'd like it to at least all the love in the world to Cool Duder, but that has nothing to do with, you know what I mean?
Saying. It's like, yeah, those old school guys, the channel names were
you truly use just like screen names. Yeah, it was just screen name. It's like a gamer tag.
AOL Instant Messenger, Bizarro.
Yeah.
You know, like some
so
of
I was
my
like,
guys.
I feel like I could do something brand level, but there's downsides to that too.
You obviously before this, you had to have been heavy into the tech side of things, like audio and getting the best players and stuff like that. Now, was that something that your dad influenced you with at that point as well, or did you kind of naturally just being like, I want to get into this, I want to improve sound and blah blah blah?
He probably influenced me the most. So he's been an IT guy my whole life. So I was into computers super early on. Like, we had internet and Wi-Fi before like most people did, because he had to have it for work, like just working from home and doing whatever networking stuff. Like, you had to have internet at home. He needed it to work at night. And I had a laptop when I was like 6 or 7 years old in like 97, because it was like, hey, my company bought these laptops for our sales guys, and they're old and we're upgrading them. So like, do you want a laptop? Because we're just going to throw them away. And it was like, sweet, I got a laptop. Like, I have a computer. Yeah, massive. But like, I had internet. I had a laptop at like 7 years old, and most people are on dial-up. Like, we had high-speed internet. Like, I was on the internet early, and I was getting into all the tech stuff. And then he built I remember him coming home with like, he had bought this massive box TV, like a 42-inch TV, but at the time looked like an IMAX screen.
Sure.
It weighed like 2,000 pounds. He's lugging it in through the front door after a day at work, and we had that in our living room for years. And then he was quick to upgrade to HD TV. Like, we had an HD rear projection TV, which also was a beast that weighed 1,000,000 pounds. But we had that in 2006. Because I remember watching the Patriots Super Bowl in 2007 when they blew the perfect season in HD on the 63-inch. Like, thing was impressive. Like, he always got the latest tech, like early adopter, which meant we had the earliest tech, which wasn't the best tech a few years later, but it was cool to have.
I'm sure. Yeah, and a lot of that stuff is probably some of the stuff you're talking about is collector's items. But Jeff, let me ask you this: I have a feeling you're going to say no, and it's going to break my heart. But your dad should have been this way, but I don't know if he was. Was he a Laserdisc guy?
No, we never did Laserdisc.
You can see why I would assume so if he's big into the tech.
Yeah,
that was the premium format.
I don't think he ever did. I mean, unless it was just before my time, but he
Well, you would have seen it,
I would
especially
have seen some of it.
yeah, because like I have laser discs that like I have the Blair Witch Project. That was 99.
Right.
So I mean that's right about the time where it
Nah.
died out, but you would have at least seen that.
We had honestly, he was bigger into books and music. So he had a massive cassette tape collection and then a massive CD collection. It was like real early in the CDs. So I always had those.
Yeah.
But he didn't get big into the movies until DVD. Like we had VHS, but it was like for kids movies. Like he didn't have any of a bunch of his stuff on VHS. And then when DVD came, that's when he jumped in and started buying everything.
Yeah. So with all this being said, it sounds like it wasn't just a matter of you being like, well, I want to do YouTube. What should I do? Or anything like that. It was, okay, this is my thing. I do. There is a YouTube audience for this, apparently.
Right.
I'm going to throw my hat into the ring. It was full steam. I mean, it was a clear vision for you to do the channel that you're doing.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was just, for me, it was just, I want to do YouTube. And I kind of got walked into what I'm doing now. But for you, it sounds like you knew this is it. I'm meant to do this thing for YouTube.
Yeah, I had been in the community. Like I was on forums. I was deep into like Reddit pages for DVD. I was on Blu-ray.com. I was on AV forums. Like I was in that world for a long time before I did it. So I knew the community was there. And then I was like, I've got cool stuff I want to show people because nobody in my personal life really gives a shit.
No, that's the beauty of the internet, you know?
Yeah, right.
Jeff, tell me, you put this video up, you learn from your mistakes. You say to yourself, okay, let me turn the phone sideways when I film now.
Right.
How does the channel start growing? Like, when do you start to see a little bit of push? Because can I be? Yeah. Let me ask you something, because I don't really know much about your early videos on YouTube. I'm assuming you said you were trying to do different things. Were you trying to make different kinds of videos, or were some of the videos you're doing pretty? I hate to use the word standard, so don't take any offense to that. But I mean, like, are you just doing Blu-ray reviews? Are you doing collections? Like, tell me about those early videos.
Yeah, most of the early videos, if I look back, it's either I'm doing a Blu-ray review, or it was like, here's my Criterion collection, and I'm going to show you them all. Here's my Scream Factory collection, and I'm just going to show you what I have. Like, it was just collection spotlights, and then it was reviews, and very rarely did I ever get into like any technical or educational, like here's why Blu-ray versus 4K and benefits, and like any of that all came later. It was very strictly like, this is my collection, I want to talk about it, and here's what I bought yesterday.
Okay, and how was that going, if you recall?
It was, you know what? It was decent because of 4K. And I adopted 4K early. Like, I had the first 4K disc that ever came out. And I had, what was that? I think it was Joy from Fox, a Jennifer Lawrence movie. Fox was the first one to put them out, and there was like a batch. The Martian was one of the earliest ones too. I think they were the first to do them. Don't quote me on that actually being the first, but they were the first like mainstream, like big movies.
Okay, so that makes sense though to me.
Yeah,
it's like,
so I started covering those. Yeah, and at the time, really nobody else. I mean, people on the internet were on blogs and forums and stuff, but nobody on YouTube was. And I
didn't know that.
Where the hell did I get? Oh, I had the Xbox that had a 4K player built into it. So I just happened to have it, and I was like, shit, I want to upgrade to a 4K TV and just do this. So I went and bought a 4K TV, and yeah, that's where the first traction came from. It was just like, it's not Blu-ray reviews anymore. I'm going to give you The Martian on 4K. And then that was like, oh, you're the only one doing that. So the search just naturally drove the people my way.
Right. No, Jeff, you don't strike me as the kind of guy to make a video, copy the link, and go to Facebook, share it, go to here, share it, go to here, share it. But were you a kind of guy that were like, because you sound like you were kind of plugged into stuff. No, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. You just don't strike me as that kind of guy, but were you like going to Blu-ray.com, like, here's my review, going to Reddit, here's my review?
In the beginning, I was like carefully, because Blu-ray.com came to came to not like me because I think it was too basic and too like layman for them, the way I talked about things compared to the way they do. So like I kind of, they didn't like my stuff, people over there, but I did post them. And I would say, here's what I did, because I'm like naive and I'm just like proud and like, I made a video, come watch it.
Sure,
People are like,
sure.
this sucks. You don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, all right, sorry. But yeah, Reddit, like I honestly didn't even have a Facebook page until like 2 or 3 years ago for all this stuff.
Facebook sucks, man.
It does suck. I only got it for like posting Instagram reels, so they would just
Sure.
automatically go over there. But Instagram was really it. Like I had built this little community on Instagram, and those were my first YouTube subscribers and followers, and like that's where I drove most of it. But back then you couldn't even put a link in a story or anything, so it was really just like I would post a picture and be like, I did a review, it's over on YouTube if you want to go check it out. So a lot of it was organic because I really wasn't posting in a ton of places. But if you searched, this is my marketing nerd coming out, but if you search for a 4K review on the internet, Google prioritizes Google products, YouTube. So higher up in the search results would be my 4K review on YouTube, because that makes Google money, versus a blog post that doesn't make Google money. So being on YouTube is an advantage in the early days, because you would come up it was like writing a top 2 or 3 blog posts, but I had the video. So it was really good, just like search traffic.
Wow, that's good information. I mean, it's common sense, really, but it's not something I would have put 2 and 2 together with.
All those platforms just want you to be on their platform. Instagram, they just want you to be on Instagram.
Sure,
like they hate links, essentially.
Absolutely.
They don't want you to leave.
So Jeff, let me ask you, when do you, I want to say when I first saw you, dude, you probably had like 50 or 60,000 subs. Was there a video where you were like, wait a minute, this video is like doing really good? Do you remember having a breakout video, or was it a climb? Did you get a push? Because you made it sound like the algorithm kind of shoved you pretty hard.
The pandemic was a big piece. Going into COVID, I probably had like a fair amount, like 15 or 20,000 subscribers. But coming out of it, like a year later, March 2021, whatever, by that summer, it was like 50. Like I doubled in a year. That had taken, so I'm doing it since 2017. So for 3 years, I'm at 15, and then in a year I get to 50. So that was a big push, and there were a few videos in there. And there was a weird push at that time for physical media too, because I think people were genuinely like bored, and a lot of like collectible things came back. Like sports cards came back in a big way, and baseball cards came back, and like physical media and having a movie collection came back, and like vinyl records got a surge, and like people just kind of had like
trying to covet something stuck at their house.
Yeah, and you had money. Hopefully, if you hadn't lost your job, God forbid, but like if you hadn't and you were working from home, then like you had money, but you couldn't go to the movies, you couldn't go to a restaurant, you couldn't go to a concert, you couldn't go on vacation. So it was like all of a sudden people had like this disposable income,
right?
And so they started building these collections and like buying. Like there was a big nostalgia push there,
right?
Where a bunch of people started buying the vintage video games, old sports cards they loved growing up, music, vinyl, movies. Like there was a huge nostalgia craze, and that helped.
So, do you mind me asking, were you already living had you already moved into your own home at this point by 2020?
Yeah, so my first YouTube video that I ever posted, October of 2017, I think it was. I had moved out of my parents' house that April. So it took about 6 months before I set everything up and I felt good about it, but I never shot a video in my parents' house. So it was I started there, and then a couple years later, we had moved into a house. So by 2020, I was in a house that I had my own room. And
if you don't mind, you said I'm assuming you're married and all that?
Yeah. No, my wife's, we've been together since we were 17. So
oh, wow.
Yeah, she basically lived with me at my parents' house like through college, and then officially moved in after college, and then we bought a condo, bought a house. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, sure. So let me ask you this, Jeff, because I'm married as well. And my wife is very understanding of YouTube with me. It got a lot easier once I started making a little bit of money from ad revenue, right? Because once you start to see a little bit of the fruits of your labor, the old lady is a little more forgiving about the time you spend.
Yeah.
Take me back during this time. It's 2020. I'm assuming you're focusing a lot of hours into your channel during this time. How supportive is your wife of this? Was it something that you had to be like, listen, I'm going to go hardcore into this. I'm going to be editing videos. I'm going to be putting a lot of time. Was she very supportive of that?
Yeah, no, she always has been. Even, I mean, I didn't make a dime for a good 2.5 or 3 years, because I remember being in this house maybe like late 2019 or 2020, and I hit the $100 threshold, which finally gets you a payout.
It's like hitting the jackpot. Yeah.
I was like, we're loaded. I was telling her, I was like, we just made $100 off of YouTube. I was like, if I can do this every month, like we're gonna get to like go out to one nice dinner a month, or like buy that concert ticket we wanted. Like that extra $100 is gonna be huge. I was so pumped, and she was pumped for me. It was cool. And then, yeah, during COVID, she was a teacher, so like she was just like stuck. She was like, I don't know what the hell to do, because we've never done this before, this remote stuff. And I was like, I'm stuck. I've never worked remote. I'm still doing the day job, but I was like, at night, what do? We either watch a movie, or I'm gonna go upstairs into my little movie room and like just record a bunch of shit. And I was doing a video a day for like a few months straight, because there was nothing else to do. So she was awesome about it though. Like she's never given me a hard, even now with like, we got 2 kids under the age of 3. And even now it's like, I have less time to do stuff, but I get off of work at 5, hang out with the kids, do dinner, put the kids to bed. And it's like, 8:30. And I'm like, I got to record tonight. I got a podcast episode with the guest. I got a video I got to make. She's like, cool. Just let me know when you're done. I'll be upstairs, whatever. We can watch something later. But she's cool about it. It's always been good. And yeah, the money, when you can prove that it's worth something, when for 3 years it was like, I don't know why he's doing this. He's out of his mind. Yeah. And then it finally clicks. Then it's a lot easier to justify too.
Oh yeah. Time is money.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I ask you that not because I'm just trying to be nosy, but I think it's important for people to know when you invest time into something like this, it's really important to have a good foundation and have somebody that supports you. And I think it's better to have nobody that you have to deal with rather than have somebody that would give you a lot of grief with it, because, then it's just, that's twice as difficult. Your channel's starting to grow at this point. You're doing really good. Tell me the negatives about this, because a lot of people ask me about YouTube sometimes, and one of the big things I tell them, Jeff, is this: get ready to deal with criticism. You're not going to be a celebrity, but at the same time, you're putting videos on the internet for anybody to see. You're going to start to get a name. People are going to start to know who you are, and people have no problem telling you you're a son of a bitch. So tell me, as your channel is growing, how you dealt with, and I'm not saying that everybody just talk shit to you, but look, the reality is, as your channel gets bigger, you deal with it. You strike me as somebody that has pretty thick skin. You said you had a bunch of brothers and sisters.
I had 2 brothers. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, you probably got your ass beat as a kid, huh?
Well, I was the oldest.
Younger brother. Oh, never mind. I was the younger brother.
I was doing the ass beating.
I got my ass beat.
Yeah. But no, I mean, honestly, I did not have the thickest skin when I started. Those are calluses that have developed over time. Because I mean, so a big part of like why I was nervous to get in front of the camera and everything is like, it's not crazy anxiety, but like I got good anxiety. It's medicated, treated anxiety that helps me get through a day. And so that was super anxious to like put your face out there and do that stuff. And when the first comments came, I'm expecting, like, Instagram had always been fairly like at a small group. Really only people that followed you would see your Instagram stuff, because it was really hard for like organically to reach anybody. So it was like, it was 99% positive and like happy and a cool group. And then you get on YouTube and you're the world. And people got to me big time in the beginning. Like really got to me. I had a couple points in like 2018, 2019, where I almost just said, forget it, and shut it down and quit. Cause I was like, it's not worth it. Like mental health wise, like, people really got to me, and people would make videos about me and why it sucked, or like the forum posts. And I was like a glutton for punishment. Like I was I was like, I posted a new video. Now let me go to the Blu-ray.com forum for that 4K disc and see who posted it over there and what shit they're talking about, how bad it is. Like,
Jeff, hold on, Jeff. Let's break this down. Why do you? Let me ask you this. All right, like really get introspective on me of this. Why do you think that is? What is it about you? Do you think annoys people?
Honestly, I think like you mentioned it, but like the mellow kind of the tone, which I don't mean to come off this, but people said like you can come off like just like you talking like I don't mean to like I'm not trying to talk down to anybody or be like mightier than thou, but there like sometimes your tone is that way, and I'm like I'm here all the time, so like that's just the tone. So I don't when I talk critically about something, it can come off kind of
amplified as more critical.
Yeah, and when I am positive, it's like it's not enough.
Is that all
like,
you New England? Like I feel like I went to Michigan last year, and I feel like an alien up there. Like I'm loud, I get quiet, I have an accent. Like I say coffee, and people look at me like I have 3 eyes. I was raised in New Orleans. I feel like a lot of northern people are pretty like dry, like just kind of drier. Maybe I'm more animated. Is that what your family's like? Is the Films at Home crew, the family, are you all just kind of, you know?
My wife's not. She's the exact opposite of me. I call it. She's a golden retriever.
You put her in the channel.
She did one podcast episode with me, and I think it's like our best one ever. People loved it. And we're gonna do another one. But
excellent.
She's like my social. Like she helps me like be more social because I am just like people up here. You go inside at Thanksgiving and it's 20 degrees and snowing for the next 4 months, and you just sit inside your house, and everybody kind of emerges in the spring, and you're kind of like, look, it's like hibernation almost. Yeah. And so you don't know what to do with people for a little bit, and then by the time you start to warm up to people again, we're going back in for the winter. So we're just all kind of like we keep a lot of people up here keep to themselves. The houses are really spread out, like not in the city so much, but like your neighbors are really far apart in a lot of areas. Like there's some tight knit communities, but a lot of people keep to themselves and kind of do their own thing. And I definitely am that way. My dad's that way. My family's that way. Like you kind of have your little circle, and that's it.
Let me ask you this, Jeff. Because I think this is a cool interview to talk to you about this, because you are a bigger channel that can really talk about this sort of thing. Do you almost feel like you said it kind of got to you when you started getting criticism about stuff? Did you almost have a moment where you're like, well, maybe I should be one of those, well, what's going on, guys? This is Jeff from Films at Home, and today we're talking. Did you almost have moments where you're like, maybe I should try that? But then you said to yourself, fuck that. Like, I can't keep up that character. Did you ever have videos that you filmed where you almost tried to be that sort of way?
I did. Yeah. Or edited them in like a more manic kind of crazy way than, because my editing was always very simple too. Like I never did any of the like stuff flying in and like sound effects. And
do you still film with your phone?
Yeah.
See, that's so impressive to me. Like I am a tech junkie when it comes to cameras and mics. Jeff, I have more mics than I'd like to admit. I'm a musician though, so it's like I do use some of these for like like I am a mic junkie, and you seem like are you a simplistic kind of guy? Are you a minimalist? Maybe not if you're a physical media collector, but maybe you are. In other ways.
That's the crazy kind of thing about it is I am pretty simple when it comes. Like I have a Yeti mic. That's it. I upgrade my phone every 2 years. So like I just got an iPhone 15 Pro that I got from a 13 Pro, and that keeps the camera like fresh, but I know it's not as good as a regular camera.
Keep the camera fresh.
Yeah, like I know it's not the same as having a Canon. Yeah. But no, I've just always kept it simple because I don't know that stuff well enough. And even the home theater is pretty simple, and people give me a hard time and like, your TV is not big enough. Why don't you have a 120-inch screen projector and 15 speakers and an amplifier and all this? And I'm like, honestly, because that stresses me out. Like it bothers my like whatever little bit of OCD. I don't want to underplay OCD because I don't really have it. But like whatever that little thing is that like, if the projector's slightly off, I'm like, oh, I can't watch this movie. And so projectors drive me nuts because they're never perfect. And I'm like, I just need a TV that's always perfectly in its square. Right. And I don't need anything too big that's going to overwhelm, and I want clean shelves. And when I get piles of movies, like some of the collectors out there, you guys with your piles of movies, I would be like in an anxiety attack on the floor. Like I can't function in this room.
I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's different, but that would drive me, like, I would lose it. I wouldn't be able to do it.
Do you start to feel a responsibility to your audience after a certain point? When you start getting consistent viewers, the algorithms push you. A lot of people are watching your video. Do you feel like, okay, I know a lot of people are going to watch my review of Prey on 4K.
Yep.
Do you ever feel bad when you have to, or not even necessarily that movie, but do you feel, my question is, do you feel a responsibility once you get to a certain level, or do you just kind of keep that in check to say, like, I'm just going to be honest. I'm not going to worry about being negative, because what is your thought process? How does your thought process change as your channel gets bigger? Is what I'm asking you.
I mean, you definitely, I tread more carefully, because you have to have sort of 3 or 4 years ago, I would hear a rumor and throw something out there, and it'd be insane and it'd be stupid, and I'd be like just trying to make content, right? But there's like a little bit of like journalistic integrity as you get bigger. Like you have a responsibility to not mislead people, and I do feel like I have that responsibility to the audience to like make sure I vet things and not just like throw a video out that's a rumor and I know it's going to get clicks, but like I have nothing to really back this. I just heard something, and like I would do that a few years ago. I don't do that anymore. And there is responsibility. Yeah, there's a weight that like something big came out. Even right now, like I'm on a work trip. Chinatown came out on 4K. It's a big release for a lot of people. Chinatown's a huge movie. I watched it Saturday night before I flew out to Seattle on Sunday, but I didn't have a chance to shoot a review video because I was traveling. I'm out here for the whole week. And so like I have there's this weight on my shoulders. Like I had to film that before I left so I can get that out for people. And like, I feel like I failed, you know, the audience not getting that out. And you feel like you fail them if you don't have a video posting 1 week, and like, where'd you go? Oh, I went on vacation, but I didn't post anything. And it's like, where'd you go? You have a responsibility to the audience and like to the algorithm, sadly. Like that kind of can consume you. And so I tried to, that really got to me at a point too. The pressure that I was putting probably on myself more than an audience was actually putting on me to like keep churning stuff out. Because in reality, most people would watch whenever. If it came out late, you know, they've been watching for a long time. They'll watch, you know, your loyal base. You might miss some of that excitement and some of the initial like push, but you do feel that way. But at the same time, I also don't love the pressure that the audience can sometimes put on you, as if they kind of own you and the channel and the content. And it's like, you didn't do this the way I wanted you to. I didn't like this, so I'm out of here. I'm not going to follow along anymore. The comments that come in, why did you do this way? Why didn't you cover this thing? You know, and it's kind of like, well, for a lot of reasons. Like I was busy, I got a fam, like I don't know. And people that get it. Like your good, loyal follower, subscriber base like understands that. But as you get bigger, you have those fringe people who are like, you know, you didn't put anything out. I hate the way you did this video, and you know, and I own you, and I should be telling you what to post. Like you work for me, and I'm like, I do this for this is side hustle, hobby, fun for me. I post these things for me to have a community to talk to. Like there shouldn't be that kind of people get very attached to creators, which I understand because you build that relationship, but at the same time, you don't. You know people in 10-minute snippets from a video. Like you don't know what happens the other 23 hours and 50 minutes of the day that like make me a person, because you don't know me personally. And so there's stuff going on that I wouldn't get into with people sometimes. And they're like, this sucks, you suck. And I'm like, well, there's a reason why. Maybe this wasn't the best. Maybe I was having a day, a bad week, whatever. I skipped a week. Like it's just a weird relationship because they know this, but they don't know you as a whole.
Jeff, I feel like you're kind of describing why you felt the need to change your channel name.
A little bit. Yeah, because there was pressure. I just kept feeling this pressure to be in a box. I felt like I put myself in a box, and the more I put myself in the box, the more it felt like work. And I was like, the minute, like I people who do YouTube full time, I give you all the credit in the world because it's hard. Like I don't think I could do it full time because it's really stressful, and you never know what's going to pop off and how 1 month's going to be to the next. And when you're paying bills with it, like that freaks me out. So I never wanted it to become work. I don't mind dealing with some of the business stuff as you get bigger and doing that, but like I don't want it to be work. And when it became work, and I was expected to do this, or the audience wasn't going to watch, like then I was like, I got to get back to like roots here and just make stuff that I would find helpful and that I would enjoy watching, stuff that I like, because that's where I came from. That's how I started.
So I remember when you changed it,
Big
you
to
had
do.
a lot of you had a lot of resistance, and
Yeah.
I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I was like, I'll never give anybody criticism for changing the name, but I was like, but Jeff's last name's kind of a pain in the ass to say when you look at it. I wonder if that's going to be a problem.
It is.
Like,
I know.
how do you say your last name? Is it just say it for me because I can't look.
It's Rauseo.
Rauseo, because I want to just say Russo.
Right, everybody does. I know.
So you felt boxed in, but do you really feel like physical media wasn't necessarily a problem, nor was it the negative comments, but you put a level? Because I know you did a video about this, but I you know, if we can just kind of break down the thought process a little bit more, do you almost feel like you built it up in your head that you were in a box, or was it half the responsibility of, like you described, and like, oh shit, like I have to get, honestly, I don't theoretically, I don't really feel like watching Chinatown right now. I'd much rather watch 3 hours of The Office. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you almost, okay, so
that is what it was. It was like when I stopped watching movies and stuff that I enjoyed, and I started watching things because I had to make a video about it because it's coming out soon. And I'm like, I don't want to watch this movie. I don't like this movie. But enough people do, and I'm in this box. And if I don't do this, then it hurts the next video because I missed this one. And, you know, I'm not going to get any views. And then the next time around, someone else's video will get recommended and not mine. I'm just like in my head so much about
Are you a
the
competitive
analytics.
guy?
I am.
Are you a competitive guy? Yeah.
Yeah. Like not outwardly like crazy competitive, but like this week at work, it's like it's like a competition in the company. Like, so you're working on things and trying to hit certain goals, and I'm like sneaky, quietly competitive and trying to crush everybody else. But I'm not like screaming in the back of the room being like, "I'll kick your ass. We're gonna win this whole thing." It's not like pride, a Michael Jordan like trash talk. Actually, maybe it is more like Michael Jordan and less like I don't know, Kobe Bryant trash talking. It's more the silent, like, I'm just going to do the job and do it really well, and I'm going to beat you. And then I'm just going to kind of smile and like take my trophy. Like, that's how I want to do it. I don't want to be in your face and being like trash talking you the whole time.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I applaud you for wanting to, you know, strive to be the best. So you think changing your channel name to your name was really a way for you to try to diffuse the stress and anxiety you built up with yourself? Let me ask you this, Jeff.
Yeah.
I have, on a smaller scale, I mean, I get some promotional stuff from Paramount and MVD and things like that. And just for me, there was a moment where I was getting more titles that I could keep up with to watch and review. And I actually had to tell MVD. Now, I love MVD and I have a great relationship with him. And thankfully, my guy was like, whatever you want to review, let me know and I'll send you that. I'm not going to send you 13 titles. I actually had to say, you know what, I got to put the brakes on that because it's stressing me out. I mean, do you ever feel like you need to do that? Or have you had to make those steps to say, listen, I love the promotional stuff, but like, I can't keep up with it.
Yeah, no, I have for a couple of I mean, one, yeah, it's too hard to keep up with. But I'm just honest with them at this point. I'm like, look, if you want to send me something, by all means. But I also want to be more selective because I was getting a bunch of stuff that I didn't ask for. You get to a certain point, your name gets out there enough, and you get on lists. And I had stuff showing up, and I'm like, I have zero interest in watching this, covering this. Like, how did this even get to me? And people will be like, oh, that's, you know, it's like first world problem. You got a movie you didn't want, but it's like, but they piled up, and that stressed me out. And I was like, what do I do with these? I end up donating a bunch of them and just getting rid of them because I was like, I didn't ask for these. So I've gotten more selective. Like I used to ask for everything. Now I'm like, that's interesting. I would love to talk about that or check that out. And I've told people, you may not get a full 10-minute YouTube video on every one of your releases. You could end up in like an update video, could be an Instagram reel, could be a post, could be, you'll get some coverage, but like, I can't do a 10-minute review video for every single thing that's coming out because it's overwhelming, and trying to keep up with that, even for the major stuff, became too much once 4K really started picking up steam. I mean, there's a point in time, even 3 years ago, when Criterion's not doing any 4Ks, Shout Factory's barely doing them. Like the major studios would do a couple releases a month, and now it's like there's 25 a month. You just can't.
It's impossible. You
can't cover them all. So I got to be selective. I don't want junk coming in that I'm going to put in a donate pile. So I'm selective, and I'm a little, it's that curation that I always talk about. Like I need to get my collection to a collection I feel good about, not just as big a collection as I can have.
And you know something, Jeff? I'm assuming you're going to say I'm kind of the same way. I love physical media to death, but some of my favorite videos that I've done, it's not about the DVD. It's not about the 4K, but it's a story behind it. Like, Jeff, I say I got lucky. I did work hard on this video. I did it. For me, this was a big deal. And I don't want to talk about me. I just want to give you an example of something.
Yeah.
I did this video about Return of the Living Dead Part 2. The DVD had this bizarre, weird soundtrack on it. And I did this video where I investigated what this was and why this was different and what happened. And I got 34,000 views on that. To me, it was like hitting the jackpot. And I feel like whether that was a higher power or something, like throwing me a bone, because that kind of video is something I was really inspired by. Not talking about the picture quality or the audio quality or the special features. I feel like you're kind of the same way. You're kind of a guy that's like, hey, like I want to talk about the DVD, the HD DVD wars, because I feel like that's where you shine the most with some of your. Am I right? Like I feel like that's where like you really are like, this is what I love. Like let's talk about the history of this.
And that, that was the shift, and that came with like the name shift too. And I wanted to get away from you're the 4K review guy, because I was tired of talking about pixels and sound, and like the real reason I have this collection and I buy these movies in a great quality is because I love them and I want to experience them in the best, and I want that like physical piece of me to be like on a shelf, and like I love the movie first and everything else is secondary. And I want to explore those cool aspects of home video and nostalgia that I grew up with, where I want to explain to people, you know, I'm like rehashing older videos I did that were more educational. Like what's the difference between 4K and HD, and like, where are you going to see benefits? Is it a right move for you to buy a 4K TV? Should you get a player? Like stuff that actually is helpful to people, and stuff that I get DM'd all the time on Instagram or get emails about. And I'm like, this is truly what people are finding value in versus a review. They're kind of just coming to a review for a lot of times just like kind of confirmation of your own bias. Like,
validation for purchasing it.
Yeah, like I bought this and I think it's good, so I hope this guy also thinks it's good. And if he says it's bad, I'm going to be like, this guy sucks.
Well, Jeff, half of these guys don't even watch the goddamn movie. They just show you the slip cover and tell you to buy it. But
that's the
you don't have to get into that. I'll say it, but you don't have to get into
that. But that's the thing is like, and the reviews just, I love doing one for like a really cool movie that maybe had like Once Upon a Time in the West, which was controversial, had a really interesting remastering process, and like explaining that more so than just being like, here's the video, and at 2537, if you freeze frame and compare it to this, it's a little greener here than, you know what I mean? It's just, no, that's totally not how you watch movies. You don't watch movies by freeze framing.
And look, I think, I think criticism can be good. My philosophy is, if you give me criticism, as long as there's not a bitch, idiot, or motherfucker attached to it, I'll take it at face value. So I think with your case, when you talk about some of these people say, I don't like the way you did this, you didn't do this, I feel like some of these people may be and I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe some of these people are already experts, and that's not really who it sounds like you're trying to make videos for. You're trying to make videos for the guy. Let's say like me. I was like sitting. I wonder if the PS4, PS5 is going to be good for the
Yes.
4K. I mean, so am I on to something there? Is that
That's always been the goal, and that's what I'm trying to get back towards more, because I feel like there's a lot of gatekeeping, and it's like, if you don't have, and I like stupidly went out and bought a new OLED TV because of this pressure that I was feeling at this time, where I could have just used the TV I had. I
was
love
it
the
an
TV.
LCD or that you had, just like a
Yeah, and it was a good one, but like
yeah.
I'd get comments to be like, your TV sucks. You can't review a disc because you don't have an OLED and you don't have this player and you don't have this receiver. And I'm like, but if that's what it takes to enjoy this,
But Jeff, well, my thing. I'm sorry to cut you off, but my thing is that's not majority of the people.
right?
Okay, go ahead. We're
No,
thinking
right.
the same way. We're thinking the
Yeah,
same
I
way.
mean, if that's what it takes to actually enjoy this disc, then this is not a good format that people will enjoy. This isn't worth it for them. Why should they need to spend $5,000 on equipment to enjoy a $20 disc? So,
Right.
and the reality is you don't need to, but there's this gatekeeping of like, this guy doesn't have a 150-inch projector. He doesn't have an 85-inch OLED $5,000 TV. It's garbage. You know, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And it's like, but if we think that way, then I'm only catering to the 1%. And guess what? This is all going to die because nobody's going to buy it. It's going to be gone. You can't get. So what I'm trying to do is like, it's that layman's terms. Why would the average Joe sitting at home right now with a 10-year-old HD flat panel TV, why would you go buy a 4K TV? What are the kind of things you would see in the simplest terms? Like dumbing it down beyond like what's HDR. It's brighter and it's more contrast, and it's like a color wheel instead of color selection. You have all the colors instead of just, you know, like simplifying it down to that level. And then people go, oh, okay, so it's not just resolution, there's like a color aspect and some other benefits. Okay, maybe I'll go check it out. And maybe I just converted a new person to buy some discs and created a new collector. Because if we're not creating new collectors, then all they're doing is dying off every day, and eventually there aren't going to be any left.
And then will die off. Yeah.
Right. And then it's gone.
So Jeff, have you explained? I mean, is that something you've kind of explained to your audience? Like, listen, like I want to, or do you just kind of assume people should understand that's what you're doing?
I used to a lot more. I would say it in videos and be like, look, I'm not a technical expert with a professionally calibrated system, and I'm, you know, I'm like you, like I'm one of you, like celebrities, they're just like us, like that kind of thing, which is, it sounds stupid, but like that's what I was doing. I was like, I'm you, I want to appeal to you. Sure. And then yeah, but now when I do those videos, I do say like, listen, I know if you've been watching the channel for 5 or 6 or 7 years, you know this information. I'll say at the beginning of the video, like, this one's not for you. You want to turn it off, turn it off. Like, I don't blame you. This is to try to attract 20,000 new people here, so that they can enjoy some of the more, they can get a little more in depth and maybe start to geek out on some stuff and watch some reviews. But we got to get them there first and understand that the PS5 is a good enough player and they don't need to shell out $600, and their TV is good enough, and a sound bar works for most people, and you don't need 18 speakers. And like that, just level it with people, because the industry honestly has done a bad job. They've made the marketing for like 4K and like the education around it and its benefits is bad. Like people don't even know what it is.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm trying to basically do that for them so that this doesn't die, and my hobby that I love doesn't die with it.
So Jeff, do you think you're in a good place? I say mentally, but I mean it's probably too exaggeratory. It's too exaggeratory of a word, but for lack of a better word, do you think mentally you're at a better place now, swapping back to films at home and just realizing? Because I even when you changed, if I'm being honest, I still thought the name worked perfectly fine. You're talking about films at home, you know, but I understand now. I understand why you did it. You felt like you had to escape this wall you built around, not wall, but like you felt the name had responsibility, and you're just like, listen, like I don't want this to be a responsibility. Now that I feel like you've got a grasp on that now, and you've put yourself in control, and you know, hey, I got to go at my own pace, but you know, I'm assuming we're all good now.
I feel a lot better. Yeah. And I haven't changed the name back. Like I'm not going to bring the name back. Some of the content is going to get back to the roots of where I started and what I liked doing. Cause I had this
Right.
slump of like, I hate this stuff now, but it wasn't because I hated that stuff. It was because I was burnt out on the constant need to keep up with it. And so by scaling back and doing more stuff that's informative and educational, like I like to teach, like I like to do. So that's doing more of that has been better. And honestly, like I don't think there's a lot of stuff behind why you would change a name. And some of it was that it was actually limiting opportunities, weirdly enough.
Okay.
Because of the name. So I would love to do more. And I've started to recently with the podcast and being able to talk to directors and like see stuff theatrically and get a screener link. And I've done it on Instagram, like talk about a brand new horror movie that's coming out to let people know about it that I think you'll enjoy. And like, I couldn't do that. And I did hear from multiple sources, like, well, we'd never invite you to a theatrical thing or give you a screener because your film's at home. So that name doesn't work for us. And you're only about home viewing. So we don't want you to talk about movies. We don't want you to do anything with like theatrical experiences. So there was an actual, like, I was losing opportunities because I was limiting. This is as crazy as that sounds. It was actually limiting what I could do and some of the stuff that I thought would be really cool. And I'd get invited to, and they'd be like, actually, nah, they don't want you because of your name. It doesn't align with what they want. Wow. Like it was real. I didn't realize that till about a year ago, how limited it had become. And now I've had opportunities to like talk to directors and talk about their upcoming movies. And like, that's opened a door that I'm really excited about. Cause ultimately it is just about the movies. I just love movies and I love the art of movies, like physical or otherwise. Like, I just want to talk to people about it. So it opened up a lot of doors.
And I'm excited. I'm glad you're doing the podcast. YouTube loves long form. And I think a podcast sounds like it's perfect for you. Do you think the podcast can also be a way for people to really get a sense of who you are a little bit better?
You definitely will. Yeah. I am much more open in something like this, like going on another channel and talking to somebody, doing a live stream. If you've ever caught me doing a live stream, doing a podcast where I'm kind of just recording for an hour, unfiltered, uncensored, not edited. Like I'm just talking, and I incorporate knowing that I have 45 minutes to an hour instead of 10 to 12 minutes. I'll incorporate more of like a personal story or connection versus I do a review and it's like, I want to get to the juice of this. So people aren't listening to me ramble and ramble and ramble, but the podcast, you do get more of that. And I like that because you get a little more personal.
Sure. And I think ultimately that's going to make your viewers feel a little bit more connected to you. And I think that can only be a good thing too.
I think, that's the goal. Because to be honest, the subscriber number, like it looks big on my channel, but if we really got down to a core group that cared, it's a lot lower than that. The number is inflated from a couple videos that got really big. The engagement doesn't match the subscriber number.
Yeah, I feel like that's the reality for a lot of channels, though.
Yeah,
too.
I'm much closer to like 50,000 subscriber type channel than I am 125,000, and that's the way I still feel.
Tell me about real quick before we wrap, Jeff. Tell me about when you opened up that 100K play button. Tell me the feeling. I'm gonna get there,
pretty
Jeff.
Cool.
I know I will.
You will. You will
work my ass off and get it.
Yeah, it is. When I started YouTube, I looked at Sean C. Phillips, his channel. I think he had like 90,000, and I was like, okay, he's been doing this forever. Physical media, that's the ceiling. Must be 90,000 because he's the one who's been doing this. He's the biggest.
Right.
But I'm trying to crack that 100. I want to be like the first one to get to that 100 in this little niche and get it. And so like that was always the goal.
Sure.
Always get to 100, get to 100. That's the ultimate. Like I never thought a million. I still don't ever think that'll happen. It's just such a huge number. But when it happened, yeah, it's like very validating. Like just all the work you've put in. Like it took me, I know a lot of people, it takes longer. It took me like 5 or 6 years to get there because I got lucky and had some stuff blow up, and getting it and getting to like customize it, which is really cool. Like, so you can put your channel name or you can put your own name or you can do both, which is what I did. Cause I was like, I want to give credit to the brand and to myself. So mine says Jeff Rauseo - Films at Home on it. Cause you can like, they let you do whatever you want and like make it yours. And it's like to me, that thing is more valuable than like my college diploma, like than any other like professional achievement I've had in my professional life. Like that just to me validates, it validates more hard work than like any company could ever give me. And like I did it myself. I built it myself. I did it myself. Like it's the ultimate validation of I put that front and center. Like that's my thing. I bring it up on job interviews. If I'm interviewing for a job, I'm like, look, I did this. Like I'll work hard for you guys because like I can do this. Like I did. I worked hard and like it paid off, and it was really cool. It was just validating, and like it's a really, really cool thing to have. And I hope you get there, because it really is like you open that box and it's just like, fuck yes, I made it. Like this is not that you haven't made it before you get that, and it's not like you're done afterward, but it's just like such a cool piece of validation. And I don't know, that's like my prize possession, like above anything else. It's like wife, kids, dogs, YouTube plaque. It's like it's up there. It's really cool.
Amazing, yeah. I'm happy for you, dude. You've done a great job, and nobody could take that away from you. That's for sure. You know, Jeff, this has been great, man. It's been nice to actually talk to you. And I don't know how many interviews like this you've done, but I really hope that the audience was able to see a little side of you that's I don't want to say a little bit more human, but just a little bit more of the human being, so to speak. And yeah, I appreciate you giving me your time, dude.
No, I appreciate and I appreciate the angle you took here, because I do like to give some more behind the scenes and like to establish that fact that like, yeah, these are humans. They're not 10-minute YouTube videos that you watch once a week. It's real people. We're going through shit like everybody else. That's why I don't even feel too bad when I get like super negative comments now, because I'm just like, that dude's going through something and I've been there, and like that's not about me. That's about something bigger that they're probably dealing with. You know, you get a little more empathy, and I appreciate it though. The angle you took is nice, because everyone just wants to come on and ask me about my collection and movies, and like it was nice to open up a little bit. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely, dude. That's just I'm interested in people like that, man. And when I watch your videos, the first thing I do is I look behind you. I'm like, well, let me see what he's got there, because that's how I feel like I can get a sense of people.
Yeah,
you know. And Jeff, I mean, your channel is obviously very, very big, but I'd be remiss not to say, is there anything you want to promote to maybe the people on here that aren't familiar with you?
Yeah, probably the podcast, to be honest, which is my only. That's funny. It's not named after me. That's House of 1,000 Movies, and that's a little branded project I've been working on. It's actually it's a weekly podcast that goes out on Wednesdays. It's on YouTube, but it's on all the the audio platforms too, the Spotify's, Apple's, whatever. Every Wednesday, and then there's I do a newsletter every Wednesday now as well. So if you sign up for the email, it's a free newsletter. I'll put it out every week, and it's like, here's the podcast episode for the week and a little background on why I chose this. Here's some physical media news from the week. Here's some Hollywood news from the week, box office news, whatever, a little snippet of what's going on in the world of movies and entertainment every week. So that's been fun to put together as a nice, like, new little project, a new channel. So both podcast and newsletter. It's House of 1,000 Movies. House1000movies.com is the website. It's all out there. So that's the biggest thing. And then, yeah, just come check me out on YouTube. Instagram's big. I get a ton of DMs. I love chatting with people over there. That's like my #1 platform for just like social outreach and talking to people. I love Instagram for that. It's a lot more personal than YouTube with just like comments and stuff and trying to reply to people. It's a lot easier to DM and chat with people. But yeah, just.
Do you want people to follow you on X or Twitter? Do you want me to leave you alone on that?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with that anymore. It's such a strange place to be.
Can I tell you something real quick before we end, Jeff?
Yeah,
I have seen you on Twitter. I'm gonna call it Twitter because there's something about saying X.
It's still Twitter.
It makes me feel like a douchebag.
Yep.
I have seen you like post stuff on Twitter, and you always get a few responses from people that just completely disagree with you, whatever it is. And I remember one time you responded back to somebody. Your response made me laugh my ass off. Don't worry, it's not bad. You said something in terms, I'm sure it was movie related, and the response, somebody commented like, no, blah 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 blah, and you commented back to him and you said, dude, I think you have disagreed with every single thing I've ever said on here.
I remember this. Yeah. Because I remember this guy. I remember this guy in on every platform. I'd see him, same username. He's on YouTube. He's on Twitter. He's on Instagram. I'm
Jeff,
like, holy shit, dude.
This is the thing, Jeff. These are your biggest fans. They are watching everything you do. Like, that's where I realized as a content person or a YouTube or whatever you call us, I flipped my switch. I was like, these people, you can't pay for that. They watch everything you do, man. And once you learn that and figure that out, then you got them in the palm of your hands.
I had tolerated him for a while. I was like, I'm not gonna be mean. I'm just gonna let him know, like, straight up, every thought that you leave is in disagreement, which is fine. Like, you have the right to do that, but like, dude, lighten up a little bit. It's insane.
Oh,
I do like to have fun with that. I'm not afraid to like write something like kind of, if someone's truly being a dick, like, I'm not going to give you a hard time if you just like have a constructive criticism. But like you said, if somebody's like idiot, asshole, like whatever, if you start calling names, like I'll come back and say something stupid funny just to mess with you and like get the trolls going, because I know they don't have my well-being in mind, so I don't mind firing back every now and then. Yeah. But I try not to do that. It's not worth it. It's not worth your mental health.
Yeah. Well, listen, Jeff, man, I really appreciate you giving me your time. I hope the audience enjoyed this, and yeah, it was great, man. Maybe we'll do something down the road, you know?
Dude, I'd love to. I'd love to have you do a podcast or something, help you. I mean, I want to help everybody else. This is why I do these too. Like, hopefully people on my channel see it and they come follow yours, and we all grow it together. It's all a good community, and the stuff you've been putting out solid. And sorry I couldn't give you a better backdrop than a shitty hotel room, but next time
I think it's classy.
It's a decent hotel, but it's not my office, which is a lot cooler to look at. So next time I'll be in the office, we'll do something cool. But yeah, definitely anytime, man. This is cool.
Well, for my audience, we thank you guys. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Huge giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind the scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.